Ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
Here we go.
Let's see.
My name is Peter Berninger.
And my name is Terry Arinji.
And we're here to give you the CES 2015 show report. This is Reviewer's View, a complete look at CES 2015 from the eyes of the big two-channel systems in the Venetian. Terry, lead off. What was one of the rooms on the early part of the show that impressed you?
Well, I'm going to start with one of the first rooms that I went into on day one was the Synergistic Research Room. The proprietor, Ted Denny, and his crew put together a system that was memorable from the start, and I listened to it more than once. It had that Magico S3 songbird sound. I don't have
that.
I don't have another word for it. That's what came to my mind when I went into the room. There wasn't too much bass. The mid-range was beautiful music. There wasn't too much on the top, not a harsh note to be heard. So immediately I thought that was a candidate for Best Gold Show Award for sound.
You got the sweet spot on that first day in that room. I did not. I got the sweet spot on the last day of the show. And I have to agree that the S3 and the Synergistic Room really was a stunning setup. And you know what? It was with this big old Macintosh, it wasn't even a monoblock, it was a stereo amplifier.
There you go.
There you go.
Macintosh.
There you go.
Does it again.
Midstream Macintosh and Magico. I would have never thought you would have got that kind of sound. Probably due to all of the synergistic research. The atmosphere was in the room.
Absolutely.
The black box was in the room.
I was watching everybody in the audience during Ted's demo, and they were all nodding in accord that they could hear the differences. You really could. But of course, if your setup is that good, the differences are all phenomenal. Well, so I thought it was a win-win.
I did too. And then at the end of the show, we shot some private video of it and of a demonstration and all of their 2015 products. We'll have that video up in our first group of videos, so you can take a look at that. Now, on my first day at the show, I plunked myself down in the sweet spot in the 8 audio imports room. They were showing the Lanchi 3.1. And that speaker, Terry's, what, that big? It's about that big, wide. Entry level for Lanchi, but it still has the plasma tweeter with that little blue flame inside. I mean, you'll see it in the video. I usually get the camera right down on that plasma tweeter. I sat down, and what did we play? We
played Nublado, which is a track on Sera Una Noche. It's an exquisite recording by Todd Garfinkel at MA Recordings. I give you this information because I think everybody should have that. It's a 45 RPM and it's phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, in our LP kit that we took to CES this year, it was Sera Una Noche, it was Ambasson Treetops, and we just received those LPs about 2 weeks before CES. And we've been playing the digital at a couple other shows in 2014, and let me tell you, the vinyl just is exquisite. It is just so much more involving than the digital. There's much more density. Well, there's so many turntables at the shows now. It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. And let's not forget Chasing the Dragon, the beautiful LP recorded by Mike Valentine in London. It's, of course, they're all equally wonderful albums that we bring to the shows. Yeah, we can handle about 3 or 4 LPs. So if you're watching this and you're an artist and you want to get the word out on your recordings or perhaps on your newer LPs, LPs are great for us to take. It's harder today to take CDs to a show, because everybody has servers. You walk into a room and you show them a CD and they get all shivery because they know they can't play it. Yeah. It's funny how the vinyl has come back. It has totally come back. Yeah. And for show purposes, I'll tell you, there's nothing like going in and putting that vinyl down. It's worth lugging the records around. It really is, and people love it. I mean, you go down and you sit down and you hand the operator a vinyl record and he has a smile on his face. It's not like, oh, what's that? Because they know if you're going to carry vinyl, you're probably going to carry pretty good vinyl. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the needle dropped. Sera Una Noche, 45 RPM on the tailless turntable. And the whole room just became that recorded event. It was back to 15 or so years ago when Todd did the recording. I was so impressed. I thought, wow, this is one of the first rooms we've been in, and it sounds really good. And it sounded really good.
And in fact, it was so good, it won a Gold Show Award.
I have to inject this, that Brian Ackerman of A Audio Imports and I both talked about how you really only need these little lampshades. They fill the room. As compared to the big ones, I don't know the name of the lampshades.
Well, the big ones are the 8.1s, perhaps
8.1.
8.2 I think they have out now. They've been making advances.
And I said to Brian, well, I've learned after going to so many shows that I prefer the less, or I find that the less box or baffle, the better. It's a less interference into the actual music coming into your, or that you can experience in a room.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that the large, really large loudspeakers almost always never sound as good as the small ones. But of course there's an exception this year.
Yeah.
And I think you know who I'm going to bring up.
Go ahead.
Acoustic Zen. If you are in the market to buy an entire system with big loudspeakers and mid-range that will knock you off your chair, Acoustic Zen has the setup.
Yeah, it's the Maestro loudspeaker. That's our big one. And how about
the
those
Triode amps?
Triode Corp amps?
Oh, they're beautiful.
These
and
are
they're huge.
Yeah, the amps are like that wide, and they have two 212 Western Electric type tubes. They're a modern day version on one side and the other side of the amplifier. They're running them in parallel, single-ended. They're giving you 100 watts per channel of that 212 sound, which is a very clear and open sound. That amplifier, the M212. And those big shiny tubes, and you put your hands.
It's very impressive.
Very impressive. Very impressive. And then what was the turntable?
Oh well, Triangle Art, the front end. I wasn't going to forget them.
Yeah,
of course, that beautiful, sweet musical sound that Tom Vu creates with his turntables was very present in that room. So it was the entire package.
Yeah.
If you could go in and just say, "Okay, I want the whole thing."
I want the whole thing. I'll take
room.
the room. And then I was finishing up the videoing of the room, and I heard someone say, well, how much is it? And they were pointing at the speakers, and one of the operators in the room said, you could have the whole room for just a little over $100,000. So you're talking a fully equipped Mercedes top-of-the-line S-Class or a 911 Porsche or this fantastic audio system. I mean, you don't have to spend $1 million to get $1 million sound.
And these guys consistently win Gold Show
They
Awards,
do.
and there's a
They
reason.
do. There's
for
a reason.
It. Not just their equipment; they know how to set it up.
Yeah.
They had zero room treatment.
Yeah,
in that
that's
room.
right. That's right.
Robert pointed that out to us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh,
so
very interesting.
So that was a great room, a Gold Show winner for sure. The mid-range one, we were playing Ambassador in that room, and I tell you, it took my breath away. It was not like what I'm getting at home. I'm getting extreme layering and sound coming all around the room. This was as if I was in a cavernous area where Anne is there with me, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, I can't go any further. It's going to be X-rated. I mean, it was that good. I mean, it was that good. That good. Okay.
X-rated reviews.
X-rated.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay. This is. I hope I have the words.
Okay. Go.
It's the Carmel 2 in the YG Acoustics room. My memory, as I reminisce about the sound in that room, I had an almost physical, tactile memory because the layering of the instruments, again on Sarah Ona Noche's Nublado, was like I've never heard anywhere. And I know you hear all the best of this and the best of that from all kinds of reviews, but this is the truth. I even looked at the guy who was running the room, Dick Diamond, and just to see if they were getting the same thing that I was getting, and his face, it showed on his face, and he commented later, he never heard anything like it in the room. So then Louis Desjardins, he is the proprietor of Kronos Turntable. That was the front end for that room, and Louis said, you've got to hear how I can play music really loud on these little loudspeakers with this system where it doesn't break up at the end. So he did us a favor.
Yeah, he did.
He brought out I'm sorry, I don't know who the artist is. It was a singer.
It was a singer. It was kind of like in the Motown vein, but it was very dynamic.
Yes.
And Louis kept turning it up, and I thought, well, when's it going to distort? When's it going to break up?
Yes.
What's going to happen? Now, along with the Carmel 2s, the system had, it's a brand new pair of D'Agostino Momentum mono blocks. And I just want to let everyone know, and this is the first I had heard this. I've always pronounced it D'Agostino. And apparently, Dick Diamond was talking with Dan, and Dan said, you know, you pronounce my name D'Agostino. So, you heard it here. It's D'Agostino.
Heard
it here first.
Dan and Petra, I hope we're saying it right.
Yeah, I hope we're saying it right now. If not, boy, we're in trouble.
Correct us. And don't forget, it was wired by a Kabbalah Sasna. Top of the line, Elation.
Yep, you got that right. Yeah, yep.
The room, again, it was...
She's a real audiophile.
Well, I don't know, but I just know when I heard it. And it's visible memory to me of how the instruments layered.
Mm-hmm.
And having that woman sing, like Luigi Desjardins said, this is the volume you would hear in a woman if this woman was singing to you in a medium-sized venue.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you'd really hear, and he was right.
He was right.
You know, you go from room to room, and everybody does such a good job. And the sound this year, for whatever reason, was phenomenal at CES. But there are certain rooms where they just, when they say that this is the way it's supposed to sound in real life, it really does.
Yeah, I mean, again, but you're right about the CES this year because consistently the whole show had good sound. And someone had, after we came back, we put a little post on Facebook and someone said, well, that's because the weather was cooperating. So we had like high 60-degree days, so the heating and air conditioning systems in the Venetian weren't running full blast. In fact, you'd go into some of the rooms and you couldn't hear anything, and that's the first I've ever had that at CES.
Yeah.
I think that had, it had something to do with it. Okay, I'm going to lead off with a room. This is the second day of the show. I go knocking on the room door. The door's closed. And, normally the doors are wide open. They want us to come in. So I'm knocking, and I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I knocked again. This is the Verity room. Lamb, Air Force One. I knew what was in that room before we got there. It's all over the internet. Operator comes to the door. Oh, we have a top-level reviewer from one of the magazines here. And I said, I'm sure he won't mind if I sit in the back. I'm friends with him. It's Jonathan Allen, and he's sitting in the sweet spot. And he listens very low. And we got in the back of the room, and I sat there, and I'm listening, and I'm being well-behaved and quiet, and I can see him leaning over to Vlad and talking to him, and he introduced a new writer for the Absolute Sound, Julie
Mullins.
Julie Mullins. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to Julie Mullins, now with the Absolute Sound. And Julie was up. She was looking at the speaker from all sides, and it was great. It's great to see females into the high end.
Yeah, so be kind, guys, because you want women in the high end. Be nice to us.
Be nice to you guys.
That's right.
So they're going through the records, and Vlad played an opera record, and then Jonathan handed Vlad another record, and I'm just, waiting in the back. I thought, well, we're going to come up next so we can play our music. Well, it was in between records. Vlad had thrown a switch to play some digital. They had the Air Force One there, spinning on the Air Force One. I'm sure the Grand Phantom Elite arm was on that table as well. And then he played a Bach Toccata in Fugue in D minor. It was a digital recording. It was as if we had just gone to church. It's like you walked in. The doors to the church opened up, and there we were. And that was the Verity Lohengrin 2.
Yeah, it was very
awesome.
Good.
They had the Lamb ML3s on the woofers, interestingly, and a pair of 2.2s on the mid-range and tweeter units. And you know what? Everybody says, oh, that ML3, that's the best amp. I'll tell you, though, that 2.2, I don't know. You give me a blind test and tell me which one I like better, really good. But that 2.2 is really, really a good amplifier, and it just sounded wonderful. I was at church.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
Beautiful.
It was just awesome. It was really awesome.
That's really how it works, because if you happen to be in the room at the time, it's sounding good, and you have the right recording on, the right moment, for whatever reason it sounds better 1 hour, better 1 hour than it does to the next. That's how people get these awards.
Yep. It's consistency.
It's consistency.
Consistency. Show after show, show over show, room after room. YGs, Magicos, Wilsons. You'll notice that these are show winners, and in all of the publications and our certificates. Our certificates are we only get a handout at the most 5 or 6 at a big show. So we just go back in time and check them out. Okay, we were talking about D'Agostino.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking in the room, and I'm going, what the heck is that? That is the most beautiful looking thing. It's the M-Life integrated.
Mm.
Now, it's not just an integrated amp, because he's been showing the integrated
Right.
the past year.
Right.
And we heard it, in fact, in California, and it
Mm-hmm.
was sounding really good. Or I take that back, Rocky Mountain. It was sounding,
Was it Rocky Mountain?
Yeah, it was at Rocky
Oh,
Mountain. It was
okay.
sounding really good. And this is not your father's integrated amplifier. This has streaming built in. So you're streaming with, they call it in-streaming, and it's Bluetooth and AirPlay activated. So you can stream from your computer. You look over at the unit itself. It has an LCD screen on it, so you can go and see pretty far away. I mean, it's not a bad size. I mean, it's about that big. So if you're sitting across the room, you can get a pretty good idea of what artist is playing over there. And that was just the technology tour de force.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what the design, everything Dan does is superior to most.
It's
as far as design. I mean,
design, yeah, aesthetic
you just
design.
can't get your eyes off.
No, you can't. It was total eye candy, and that's going to get a product of the year, new product of the year award, because it just was it was stunning, just a stunning product. And it's funny, I was on the internet this morning, just looking and searching around.
Mm-hmm.
Another publication gave it product of the year too, new product of the year. So, I mean, wow,
Yeah.
what can you say? Now, I did a lot of walking around the show. You know, of course, we hit a lot of rooms. And some of the rooms were better than other rooms, but consistently they were all very good. We have a new room that we came to, actually started at Rocky Mountain. We had an email from a guy who said, come to my room, I'm having a press conference for breakfast, and his name is Michael Vamos, and he has this company called Audio Skies. He's a distributorship for, he sells and or distributes Gamma T, Larson, these interesting speakers that are made to sit against the back wall, so you don't have to have them out in your room. And he has a pair audio turntables. The turntables are very interesting, that they just sit there, and he says, do you think is that turntable on or off? Well, I said, well, it's off because it's not spinning, duh. And so he says, no, it's on. You just have to go over and just lightly push the platter to get it going. There was something about the sound of that turntable.
Yeah, it was very quiet.
It was extremely quiet, and it had, I mean, we talk about black backgrounds. What that means is that the music is coming pretty much out of something as dark as your sweater, out of nowhere. And that I really felt that with that system. So hey, hats off to a newer guy, newer distributor, dealer. It's based in California. That was a nice room, and we sat down because we did some shooting, a little extra shooting in the room to get our hands around some of these newer products. That was cool.
I could tell Michael is a music lover too, because he had a smile on his face.
He wasn't he? Yeah.
Very sincere when he was listening to Ambassad's
He was, yeah.
First track, Tales from the Treetops.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the smile on his face told me the whole story.
Yeah, it was great. Speaking of
passion.
Yeah, speaking of smile on the face, we came in to the VTL room early in the show, and we almost walked in together. Neil Gator and myself and Terry, and we came into the room. And being Luke Manley, we're all smiles. I said, "Oh, come on, you guys sit down, listen. You got to listen." I want to film. And they want us to listen. Of course, I like to do a little bit of both, but I always want to do the filming first. But I didn't this time. I sat down and listened, and then we played a track. It was a Leonard Cohen track, and Neil and I are looking at each other going, boy, this sounds really good, really good. And then Luke switched preamps and said, what do you think now? And we go, well, a little bit more dimensionality, but it's losing a little. It's losing some of the layering and some of the chestiness. And Neil and I said it simultaneously, and Terry's disagreeing. She's going, no. I think it sounds a little bit more musical this way. And Luke goes, well, we just switched to our top of the line preamp. What you were listening to prior to this was a new preamp. It's $10,000 less.
They both were good, because I've never heard him have a bad sounding room.
So it's Neil Gator and Peter Bruniger on one preamp, and Terry on the other preamp.
I love those comparisons.
Yeah, Luke, of course,
Especially
agrees
when
with
they
you.
don't tell you which is the more expensive one before they start doing this.
Yeah, I like that too.
Switcheroo.
But I'll tell you, same family sound, Wilson Alexia loudspeakers,
Yeah,
honorable
nice.
mention, just that's close to a Gold Show award.
Yeah.
They did get one last year though,
That's
so
right.
I mean, it's not that it's not capable of doing that.
That's right.
It's just the luck of the draw and what you're listening to and when you come into the room, and that's how it is with all the shows.
That's right.
So that was very interesting and a very good room. Pop out another room for me.
As always, I think Kevin Hayes' rooms are always, he's such a professional.
He is, yep.
Meticulous man
Yep.
with meticulous detail.
That's VAC, guys.
VAC to
Yep.
setting up a room with top of the line equipment. He never disappoints.
Yeah, he had the Dyne Audio speakers in the big ones in one room. He had the big monoblocks. They were sounding very good, very detailed. He usually exhibits with the big focals. And the focals have a little bit more roundness and chestiness to them, and this was a little drier in the lower.
Which I prefer.
You like that drier,
I like
and
that.
I like that more wet kind of. You're there in the.
Well, I always feel that if the first thing I notice when I enter an exhibit room is the bass, I know there's a problem. So that's right away to me. It's not integrated properly for my ears, and just my opinion. And that what you call dryness, it's just a little bit of that, less of that boom that overrides the rest of the sound of the music. So I liked his room very, very much.
I did too, and it's interesting. As we left, we were waiting at the elevator. Kevin came. He was looking for us. He came way down the hall and said, "Hey, I forgot you've got to see the second room." And there was a smaller pair of Dyne Audio speakers, and Kevin said, some of us think that on different tracks that this might be actually the better sound. Well, probably because they integrated better in the room. Small little VAC integrated amplifier. We did not listen to that system, but we have it on video, so you'll see that.
If we had more time, I would have liked.
Yeah, if we had more time.
This was the last day, and we were running out of steam.
But just before we wrap this up, I wanted to give an honorable mention also to Diasol. And this is a new company to me from Japan, a Japanese designer. Very broken English. He got his point across. You'll see it in the video. He's very enthusiastic. It's almost like an R2-D2 type of robot-looking loudspeaker. It's got a sphere. Oh, this is going to lead me into something else. It's got a sphere, and it's got 4 tweeters on the face of the sphere. So, how is that going to time a line properly? I'm not sure. So he's got to do something electrically. We played some Ambasol, that Tales from the Treetops, and it was sublimely beautiful. Zandon amplifiers, whole Zandon system. So you're talking Zandon, you're talking state-of-the-art Japanese sound, and it was simply exquisite. It was just beautiful.
You were in there without me, so
yeah,
I can't comment on that.
That was good.
Sorry,
now, I know one room you did come in with me, speaking about round, and let's wrap on this one, because this is unique. So, at the CES show, you're going to see lots of new manufacturers, and you kind of wonder, well, how much time am I going to spend in that room, or what are they going to be showing, or, do the viewers care? Well, we looked out, you're walking down the hallway, you look in the room, and I saw these round speakers. They were all different colors.
They were made of felt. They were actually as round as a ball, and it was felt like you would use in arts and crafts.
Felt like,
class.
Yep.
And that was it on a stick, really. And then where was the
The tweeter was another round. Well, a picture like a basketball.
I have to remember what. Yeah.
A basketball, and then you put like a tennis ball, up on the top of its forehead,
right.
and that had the tweeter.
It's like a growth.
Yeah, like a growth, and that had the tweeter. Well, they're not going to win beauty awards, but I'll tell you, I never heard such room-filling sound from a lifestyle-type loudspeaker ever. I mean,
you could. I don't know if people use the word rec room anymore or family room. But I could see them in a room where your kids are tumbling around. You still want good sound. You don't care if they knock them over.
Yeah.
Because how much were they?
Yeah, the most expensive ones, I believe, were $2,800, and then they went down to a little over $1,000 for the smaller ones. And he said
it was incredible.
It was incredible.
And once again, my point: the less of a box or a baffle,
the
more there's room for the music in the room.
That's it. Less box, less baffle.
It's going to be a fun video, guys.
Yeah.
The
more sound.
The owner is from St. Petersburg, Russia.
Yeah.
And I forget the name, but we'll show you.
Yeah, you'll see it in the video. It's you gotta watch that one. That's very interesting. And I even say in the video, if you're in the audio business and you're looking to pick up a line that you can really put in almost any room, that will give you just, it's beautiful full sound. Go take a look at these guys. But all in all, it was a great CES this year.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because of the sound and always because of the people.
Yeah. The passion of the designers.
The new designs.
Yeah.
You'll see in the Past Labs video and interview, some of the new designs they have were really exciting.
The new phono stage
Yeah.
from Past Labs.
Always meticulously designed. These guys really are professional, and I would always recommend doing business with them because of who they are and what their products are.
Yeah, some of the best customer service in the business. Wayne Coburn did the walkthrough,
Right.
yeah, and showed us the new products and
of course Desmond Harrington and Ken English
yeah,
were there.
yeah. And it's a superb team with Nelson Pass and the rest of the everybody at Past Labs. Hey, a big shout out!
Right.
It was a great room, great new products. We wish you a grand success in 2015. And in fact, everybody who exhibited at CES this year, they did an outstanding job. There were no dogs at CES this year.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It was good funny.
Yeah. Well, until the next show, Peter Bringer reporting and
Terry Arinci from AV Showrooms.